My husband, 39-year-old male, and I, 34-year-old female, have been together for over 13 years, married for almost 9. We have 2 children together, but they are both under the age of 4. We have had many significant issues throughout our relationship, which we have discussed at length in the past, and my concerns were always pacified with minimal effort for a brief time. Most of the current main issues began about 4 years ago when I was pregnant with our son. Despite going through fertility treatments to conceive, he was fairly absent during the pregnancy, and even worse once our son was born. I was essentially a single parent, and this created a lot of resentment. This also coincided with infection. 19 and my previously introverted husband became a hermit even after infection. 19 restrictions lifted, and we both felt safe going out again. Cut to the end of 2022, despite our continued struggles, we conceived our daughter through fertility treatments. I was hospitalized at 18 weeks and ended up on bed rest and pelvic rest for the duration of my pregnancy. Even while under these restrictions, I was still the main caregiver for our son, and he would constantly complain when he had to do any of the tasks I would typically do for our son: bath, prepare meals, etc. When I was about 7 months pregnant, my car ended up dying and I needed a new battery since I was stranded at the house without a safe car while he was at work. I continually asked him to go get one that I would pay for. I just couldn't lift it into and out of a shopping cart, but he never did it. Our friend found out I needed this, and he actually went out, bought the battery, and installed it for me the next day. When I gave birth, my husband was completely uninterested and even complained about how hard I squeezed his hand. Even though I had to give birth unmedicated, hours after our daughter was born, instead of spending time with our new daughter, he was returning a call to the group sales associate for the local Major League Baseball team to coordinate buying tickets for the next month. In December 2023, we had a very significant fight, and I finally suggested couples counseling. He refused. When I asked why, he said that he wouldn't do it because they, therapists, tend to favor the female. When I suggested we find a male therapist or one he chooses, he still refused and did not provide any other alternative to counseling or therapy. He said he wanted to fix our relationship for the kids, but I told him I would never stay together for the kids. Just my belief that it makes everyone miserable. We had this same conversation every month through February 2024, with him continually refusing counseling and actually distancing himself more from not only me, but the kids. It finally came to a head last week when I told him I have decided on a divorce. I didn't ask for one because I knew what I wanted and that I wouldn't change my mind. The conversation went from him gaslighting me, to blaming me, to bargaining for more time, until he finally seemed to accept the fact it was over between us. I was very clear and told him I would have love for him as the father of my children, but I was no longer in love with him. We even had discussed how to amicably co-parent moving forward. The next day, he came to me with these commitments he was going to make to me to be a better husband and father. He even called my mom and told her all about how he was going to change and be better. It all felt extremely manipulative and disingenuous. Since then, he has been going above and beyond to be more engaged with the kids, be more supportive of me and how he can help, etc. The only problem is, his campaign to win me back is having the opposite effect, because now I can see that he's been capable of this all along, but was choosing not to do it. He also told his parents, I asked for a divorce, and they ambushed me in our home 5 minutes after I woke up the other day, drilling me on if I loved their son and was willing to do therapy. So how can I tell my husband that this is too little, too late, while still maintaining some semblance of peace for our kids? TLDR. I, 34-year-old female, asked for a divorce from my husband, 39-year-old male. And a week later, he is going above and beyond to be the perfect husband and father. I now resent him for that due to him clearly being capable of this all along and choosing not to do it. How can I tell him this is too little, too late, and that I want to proceed with the divorce? Now, for a few comments before the update, Comment 1. No idiots here. He's not capable of doing it. He's capable of doing it for a while. This whole if they could, they would stuff isn't true. If they're not doing it from the start or not open to change from the start, then they're not going to do it ever. Yes, when crunch time comes, they change a bit. But ultimately, what you meet is who they are inherently. People grow, of course, but only in the direction they're currently at. It takes an immensely amazing human to change their direction completely. Your husband has spent years being someone who's selfish and self-centered. Continue with the divorce. You will not regret it. Comment 2. Honestly, just tell him it's too late. I hope you have already secured a lawyer before you told him you wanted the divorce. If not, get one immediately. He may be shopping around to make it harder for you to find a really good one in the area. And he's doing this good guy show as an attempt to string you along. Now, for the update. Thank you for sticking with me through this. Since my last post, things have spiraled even more. Just when I thought my husband's sudden transformation was the peak of this roller coaster, I found out he had been hiding something big. A friend of mine, who works at the bank, accidentally let slip that my husband had a separate account with a substantial amount of money in it. I was floored. It wasn't just the secrecy. It was the fact that while I was struggling on bed rest, worried about finances, he had this cushion he never thought to mention. I confronted him and he tried to explain it away as a just-in-case fund, but the trust was broken. I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. It was like every time we took a step forward, we'd fall back twice as far, and with this, we stumbled back miles. In the midst of this, our son started acting out at preschool. The teacher said he was hitting and not listening, which wasn't like him at all. I realized our home life was affecting him more than I thought. It was a wake-up call. I needed to protect my kids from the fallout, but how could I when every day brought a new revelation? My husband, sensing my withdrawal, did something unexpected. He set up a college fund for the kids and put me in charge of it. It was a significant gesture, but it felt like a bribe, a way to buy back my affection. I appreciated the thought for our children's future, but it didn't erase the past or the present. Meanwhile, my own mother was pressuring me to give him another chance. She kept saying, "He's trying, isn't that worth something?" But trying now felt like too little, too late. It was hard enough dealing with my husband without my mom taking his side. Then, last Tuesday, I made a mistake that changed everything. I left my journal out and my husband read it. It was filled with my deepest thoughts and feelings about our relationship, my plans for the future, and my discussions with a divorce lawyer. He was devastated and I was mortified. It was never meant for his eyes. The air in our home became thick with unspoken words and tension. We were like two strangers tiptoeing around each other, trying not to cause more damage, but the damage was done. In a surprising turn, my husband did something I never expected. He moved out. He said he needed space to think and that he didn't want our children to be in a tense environment. It was a responsible move, but it stung. It felt like he was giving up, just as I had. The house was quieter without him, and I had time to think. I realized that while I was angry and hurt, I also felt a sense of relief. It was as if I could finally breathe. I started to focus on the kids, on creating a stable and loving environment for them, no matter what was happening between their father and me. I've been talking to a therapist, and it's helping. I'm learning to navigate this new normal, to find peace in the chaos. The kids are adjusting too. Our son's behavior is improving, and our daughter seems happier. As for my husband, we've started communicating through emails, discussing the kids and practical matters. It's civil, almost businesslike, but it's a start. We're taking it one day at a time, trying to figure out how to co-parent while living apart. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I'm focusing on what I can control. I'm building a life for me and my kids, a life where we don't have to walk on eggshells or wonder what secret will come out next. Thank you for reading. My boyfriend hid my childhood blanket to test me. So I showed him the door and took back my dignity. I have had my baby blanket that I cuddle with since I was a baby, and it has been helping me with my stress and anxiety, mainly because I find comfort in the smell and texture. However, my boyfriend thinks it is gross and weird, that I still have this childish habit and told me I need to grow out of it and be an adult. So he hid my blanket away from me for my own good. I have been very stressed since, and I have been crying the whole day. But he just neglects my feelings by saying that this blanket is a weird crutch that I don't need. And the fact that I am reacting this way shows that I am unhealthily addicted to this blanket like a drug addict begging for drugs. I tried to tell him how important the blanket is to me, but he won't listen to me. And I asked for alternatives, like using a different blanket. But he said no, because it is a habit of cuddling a blanket I need to get rid of. I know he just wants the best for me, but I really want my blanket back. I'm so unmotivated to do anything, and I just want to rot. And I don't know what to do. Is my habit actually unhealthy and childish? And is something that I need to get rid of? Edit for more details about the situation. I don't think I am actually overly attached to my blanket. I go outside all the time and I don't have it with me, and I function fine. I normally use the blanket at nighttime to help me sleep better or cope with stress because I find comfort through the texture. I asked myself, and I think I am just very upset right now because of how my precious thing from childhood is taken away from me without any consent, and I'm not allowed to get it back. His reasoning behind this is that I am an adult, so I have to act like an adult. And holding a blanket is a childish behavior, and nobody my age does it anymore. He said I need to be disciplined and given some tough love because he claims that my parents never attempted to correct this childish behavior of mine and started blaming them for letting me keep my blanket. I have been crying and explaining how important it is to me, but he just brushed it off by saying, just because you cried doesn't mean you will get it back. And that's life, sucks to suck, kind of comments. He said his parents also throw away things he loves. And he does get mad for a couple of days, and he eventually will get over it. And he said the same thing will apply to me and bet on it, that by the end of the month, I will forget about this blanket, which I completely disagree. Edit again, because a lot of people ask me to find the blanket or if I know where it is. I don't know, but I will definitely look more thoroughly. But I think he hasn't thrown it away yet, because I asked him where it is and if I can have it back. And his response was that he will burn it or toss it if I keep bugging him about it. Date 4.27 at 1:48 CST. My parents are aware now and are extremely worried and asked me to reevaluate this relationship and leave him slowly so he doesn't freak out. His sister and parents also found out about this situation. His sister is heading over and will try to confront him with me. And his parents claim that they are too worried to care. However, my boyfriend said his sister and I are both hysterically annoying and both act like 5-year-olds and will not listen to anything we have to say. So I actually don't know how this will go. Update 4, 27 at 5:20 PST. His sister and I tried talking to him, but he said our feelings don't matter, and it is ridiculous how big of a deal we made. He said he told his friends the problem, and everyone says he's right. He threw away all my stuff just now and tossed things at my face. It hurts. I don't know how to add a picture, but I am hurt. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. First, he's a jerk for taking something that means a whole lot to you and hiding it. That is a type of abuse and control and gross behavior. It does sound like the attachment may be a bit much, and you might want to talk to a therapist when you're comfortable to figure out why. But sometimes, people just have precious items from childhood, and that's okay. It is not his right to take them, hide them, and make you grow past them. Comment 2. This is awful. My baby blanket was thrown away by housekeeping at a hotel a couple of years ago, and my husband asked every employee he could where it might be, somehow talked them into allowing him access to the laundry facilities, and literally dug through the dumpster trying to find it for me. We never found it, but the fact that he tried so hard meant the world. Please get rid of this man. Now for the update. Thanks for sticking around for this update. So his sister came over, right? She was fuming, saying how she couldn't believe her own brother would do something like this. We sat down, all three of us, and she started laying into him about respect and boundaries. But guess what? He just laughed. Said we were both overreacting and that I'd thank him later for making me grow up. I was so mad I could barely speak. Then, out of nowhere, His sister says she knows where my blanket is. She'd seen him hide it in his car's trunk. We both demanded he give it back, but he refused, saying it was for my own good. His sister was on my side, or so I thought. She told him to give it back or she'd tell their parents everything. That's when things took a turn. She went to his car pretending to get my blanket, but she never came back. I waited, and then I got a text from her. She said she was sorry, but she agreed with him. She thought I needed to be cut off from my blanket and that it was an unhealthy attachment. I felt so betrayed. I trusted her, and she just turned on me like that. I was alone again, with him smirking like he'd won some kind of prize. He said he knew his sister would side with him eventually because they were family and family sticks together. I couldn't believe it. I felt like everyone was against me. The next day, I was a mess. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. My parents were worried sick. They called me saying they wanted to come over and help me sort things out, but I was too ashamed to tell them the whole truth. I just said I was having a rough time and left it at that. Then, another bomb. I found out from a mutual friend that my boyfriend had been bragging about how he was training me to be less dependent. He said it like I was some kind of pet, not a person. He told them how he'd taken my blanket and how he was going to make me normal. I was so angry and hurt I couldn't see straight. But here's the kicker. I found my blanket. It was hidden in the back of a closet, under a pile of old clothes. I don't know why he didn't just throw it away, but there it was. I grabbed it and held it close, and for a moment, I felt a little bit of peace. But then I remembered his words, his sister's betrayal, and the peace was gone. I confronted him about it, waving my blanket in his face. He just shrugged and said he knew I'd find it eventually. Said it was all a test to see how much I'd fight for it. I was speechless. How could someone be so cruel? I told him it was over. I couldn't be with someone who treated me like this. He didn't even seem to care. He just said, "Fine," and walked away. I packed up my things, my blanket tucked safely in my bag, and I left. I'm staying with a friend now. My parents are still worried, but I told them I'm okay, that I'm handling it. I don't know if they believe me, but I can't deal with their disappointment on top of everything else. It's been a rough month, but I'm starting to see things more clearly. I'm hurt, but I'm also relieved. It's like I've been holding my breath, and I can finally breathe again. I've got my blanket, and I've got my dignity. That's enough for now. Thanks for reading. My girlfriend's best friend gets married and pregnant, sparking jealousy and fights. But when she ditches her bridal shower for my sick daughter, I knew it was time to upgrade that simple ring to a diamond and show her what true commitment looks like. My girlfriend, 26 years old, and I, 28 years old, have been together for over a year. I have a 4-year-old daughter from a previous girlfriend. Girlfriend and daughter get along very well. Girlfriend just quit her job and moved in with me full-time. Everything is going great, until her best friend announced she just bought a house, is getting married, and is now pregnant as well. They started dating about 1 month before us. My girlfriend lost it. She has been crying for literally 24 hours, non-stop, picking fights with me, and just generally acting psycho, having panic attack after panic attack. I planned on marrying her when I finish college and get a good career so I can afford a beautiful ring and a proper wedding. But her throwing a tantrum like this makes me have second thoughts about marrying her at all. We cannot afford a second child right now. Any advice on how to make things go back to normal? Update. To clarify some things. My girlfriend pays for groceries, toys, diapers, and whatever else she can manage to contribute. She wants a job. I told her it would be better for her to go to school rather than waste time at some crummy fast food job. I don't want rent from her. I don't need it. She helps enough with driving my daughter and cleaning up after her. It honestly makes it work, since I have more time to earn money. She is currently enrolled in classes. They start next month. I've started college this year and am focused on finishing as fast as I can. I've spoken to her about why she's so jealous of her friend. It seems she feels overwhelmed being a mother figure to my daughter, with no silver lining of a child of our own anytime in the near future. Now that her best friend is having a baby, she has no child-free person to turn to for a kid-free break. I can see how that would stress her out. This friend has kind of been her escape when she needs to decompress around another adult. She's incredibly happy for her friend. I don't think she's trying to outdo her or anything. She's not materialistic at all. She is very sentimental, though. We share the housework and childcare equally. I do my best to help her if I see she's stressing out. Yesterday, I sat her down and showed her the ring I had picked out for her. Adamant that she doesn't want the ring. It would cost me 3 mortgage payments, which I can't afford until I finish school and get a good job. She doesn't want to wait for my idea of a perfect wedding. I guess I have been a little dense and only considering the proposal I always dreamed about. She's been an amazing girlfriend and parent. Maybe I have some things I need to reevaluate. I didn't consider that maybe her pressure is much greater than mine. I wanted to take my time and have my second kid the right way. But she's right. The timeline I have set up for us means she will have her first around her mid-30s, while she's surrounded by children. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Get her into therapy, because this is an incredibly unhealthy reaction to something that has nothing to do with her. And she's supposed to be the mother figure to your daughter. With this behavior, I'd be worried she would start living vicariously through my daughter if she is so concerned about what other people are doing. Comment 2. She needs some healthy coping mechanisms instead of panic attacks. Panic is anxiety, so what is she anxious about? Life is not a competition. Look up anxiety tools, grounding maybe. She should really practice while not anxious, but it is a start. Look up breathing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around. A lot has happened since the last post. So, the drama kicked off when my girlfriend's best friend, the one with the new house and baby on the way, decided to throw a massive engagement party. It was like something out of a movie with a fancy venue and all. My girlfriend was asked to be the maid of honor, which should have been great, right? Wrong. It just piled on the pressure. At the party, everyone was cooing over the best friend's baby bump and shiny new ring. My girlfriend tried to smile through it, but I could tell she was on edge. Then, out of nowhere, my ex, my daughter's mom, shows up. She was invited by the best friend's fiancé, who apparently didn't know the full story. My girlfriend was fuming, and I was stuck with a big decision. The night ended with my girlfriend in tears and my ex smugly telling me that I should have expected this. She said my girlfriend was always too sensitive and that I was better off with someone who could handle the realities of life. I was angry, but a part of me wondered if she had a point. The next day, my girlfriend did something unexpected. She went out and got a job. Not just any job, but a position at a local daycare. She said it was her way of being around kids and earning extra money for our future. I was proud of her, but also a bit worried about how we'd manage our schedules. Things seemed to be looking up until my daughter got sick. Really sick. Hospital visits, tests, the works. My girlfriend was a rock, taking care of her like she was her own. But the medical bills started piling up, and the stress was getting to both of us. In the midst of this, my girlfriend's best friend had her bridal shower. It was another extravagant affair, and my girlfriend was expected to be there with bells on. She went, but halfway through, she got a call from the hospital. My daughter needed to be admitted again. She rushed out, leaving the party in chaos. The best friend felt abandoned, and their friendship took a hit. I was at the hospital when my girlfriend arrived, out of breath and eyes chaotic with worry. We spent the night in a cramped hospital room, watching over my daughter. After that, things between my girlfriend and her best friend cooled off. They barely spoke, and when they did, it was tense. My girlfriend was consumed with caring for my daughter and working. She barely had time for herself, let alone wedding planning. Then, the final straw. My ex decided to file for full custody, claiming my girlfriend's new job and our current situation were unstable for my daughter. It was like a slap in the face. We were doing our best, and now this? We had to hire a lawyer, which meant money we didn't have. My girlfriend insisted on using her savings money she'd been putting aside for us. I was against it, but she was adamant. She said it was for my daughter, and that was all that mattered. The court date was set, and it was brutal. My ex dragged our past through the mud, but my girlfriend stood by me, unwavering. In the end, the judge ruled in our favor. My ex was livid, but there was a sense of relief that washed over us. It felt like we could finally breathe again. But the victory was bittersweet. My girlfriend's relationship with her best friend was in tatters, and the custody battle had drained us. She was working more hours to replenish her savings, and I was trying to balance school and being there for my daughter. Yesterday, my girlfriend came home with a small box. Inside was a simple yet beautiful ring. She'd bought it with the little money she had left. She said she didn't need a fancy wedding or an expensive ring. She just wanted to be with me, to be a family. I was speechless. Here I was, planning some grand proposal, while she was making sacrifices I hadn't even considered. I felt ashamed for not seeing how much she was struggling, for not being more supportive. We decided to have a small ceremony, just us and a few close friends. It wasn't the wedding I'd imagined, but looking at her, I realized it was perfect. She was giving up so much for us, and I hadn't even noticed. So here we are, planning a wedding with what little we have, fighting for custody and taking care of my sick daughter. It's not the life I envisioned, but it's ours, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Thanks for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.